I'm getting the pause signal, so we're going to wait 30 more seconds. Good evening. My name is Doug Bennett, and I'm the principal here at Homer High School. On behalf of the faculty and staff, welcome to our class of 2026 and parents. Had a little bit of time yesterday with our school counselors who visited with eighth graders talking about the high school program. We're going to take a little bit of time to do that tonight. We're going to work through that kind of in two portions. We'll start with a little bit of an overview of high school program and various elements here together. And then really, because your journey through high school, one of those key people for students and for families are our school counselors. We'll split into three different groups. One group will stay here in the auditorium, one will go to the library, one will go upstairs to our learning lab, and you'll work with the school counselor that your student will be assigned with next year. On the way in, you may have had a moment to meet Mr. McGorry, our vice principal. Jim's in the back of the auditorium. I'll throw a quick wave if you look back. Mrs. Wadsworth, who will work with students in our first half of the third of the alphabet. Mrs. Fairchild in the middle of the alphabet, our director of counseling, and Mrs. Wallace, who will work with students at the end of the alphabet. N and Z are our three school counselors with us here tonight. They're obviously, like I said, critical to your journey through high school and certainly a huge part of making things come together for us tonight. So. Again, welcome. We're glad you're here. It's a great crowd. We weren't sure how many folks to expect. I also want to say welcome to folks who were unable to make it out with us tonight, who are joining us by YouTube. And we're going to set up breakout sessions again when we go into smaller groups of counselors for folks to, again, be able to participate at home. So, again, when we get to that point, students A through G will be working with Mrs. Wadsworth. Students with the last name H through M will work with Mrs. Fairchild, and students N through Z, last name, will work with Mrs. Wallace. You should have gotten a parent square message from each of them, letting you know that who you'll be working with either this morning or I think Mrs. Fairchild will on yesterday afternoon. So, again, we'll take a little bit of time here to talk about graduation diploma requirements, that process of choosing courses for ninth grade, the idea of planning for 4 years, not just for next year, but for that entire high school career and beyond. Some of the things that our school counselors will do to help with the high school transition. Some useful high school resources, and a timeline for you now to the start of ninth grade. Graduation requirements. Looks like a big chart. It is a good chart. Gives you an overview again of those courses, subjects that students will need to complete over their time with us. Students, as you started yesterday with school counselors, you heard you'll need an English class and a social studies class each year in high school, right? They start us off there mentioning that idea of 4 units of credit, right? A little different from what you experience in junior high. You actually get to make some choices each year. Some choices in 9th grade, more choices as you head to the senior year. So again, I mentioned English and social studies each year, and then that's where some choices come in. So science, right? You can certainly take science every year, but that opportunity to make some choice there, and you need at least 3 units of science, 3 years of science to graduate, 3 years of math. Students are required to complete a year of world language. Some of you, most of you will likely do that after this year at the junior high school, but again, you can go on and you see on the right-hand side, the opportunity to complete a Regents Diploma with Advanced Designation requires 3 years of world language. Students have to complete a unit of art, music, or technology. Again, one of those student choice areas. Have accredited health. Phys ed every year. That physical activity, we know an important part. Again, some choices. So our Regents Diploma students, 3.5 credits of electives. Again, because there's a little bit more world language, a little bit less than elective courses on the other side with 1.5 credits. That adds up to 22 credits over the course of high school. Seems like a lot right now, but if you take that common course load, you'll find out many of you will graduate with even more than 22 credits. Don't worry about taking copious notes right now. Again, the goal is to give you an overview. I don't want you to get caught up in every last detail, but again, just to have kind of an awareness as you're talking about courses here in the next few weeks for 9th grade, some of that information is background. I'm going to keep plowing through if that's okay. You guys are good. Along with earning credits, right, our Regents exams are a part of that as well too. And again, the different diploma type, right, whether it's a Regents Diploma or a Regents Diploma with Advanced Distinction, depends, just like it depended on the courses you take, on the exams you complete. So for our students to graduate, a 65 or higher in 5 exams. That's a math exam, typically Algebra 1, Global Studies, U.S. History, English, and a science exam. Again, that's overall 4 years. Again, many of those exams students will complete by the end of their junior year. Occasionally, somebody may need to take a little bit of time in the senior year. For the Advanced Diploma, again, it's some additional courses, it's some additional exams. So you'll see now we're not just talking about a math exam, but 3 math exams. Again, algebra, geometry, algebra 2. Global Studies, U.S. History, that's the same as before. The English exam, and again, 2 exams in science. Biology, and then one of our exams in physical science, so either earth science, chemistry, or physics. And there's a need to pass the final exam after completing the 3rd year of world language. Differences in those 2 exams, everybody graduates with that Regents Diploma. Again, some students, if they're pushing themselves with coursework further, will graduate with the Advanced Designation Diploma. I said before, don't worry about taking copious notes. We provide you with all this information on the high school webpage. You go to the Guidance and Counseling link, the Guidance and Counseling website, you'll find a link titled Program Studies 2022-2023. Talks about all that information I just talked about with you. Talks about, again, the different levels of courses from our advanced placement or AP courses, honors, concurrent enrollment courses. Those are enrollments where courses where a student can earn college credit while they're earning high school credit. Typically with Tompkins Grove Community College, but we have some other college partners. Right, you'll also find course descriptions. So if you're wondering what is natural disasters about, okay, that's pretty obvious. It's probably a course about natural disasters. But it's something less obvious. There's some information for you there. It also talks about the Ncaa Eligibility Center and approved courses there. And you'd say, why is that? Some of you may be inclined to think, hey, when I go off to college, I'd like to continue to be involved in athletics. It's important to be aware of that as you make your course choices. Right? Students who might be thinking, okay, I don't just want to participate in athletics, but I think I might be good enough to think someday I could be a Division II or Division I, a scholarship athlete. Again, we want to make sure that you take a challenging program that makes you eligible for a scholarship. So again, not something to spend a lot of time thinking about tonight, just something to put that seed in the back of your head so a year or 2 or 3 from now when you really start to make those choices, that's something to work with counselors who will also remind you if you're on that pathway about. What will your schedule look like next year? Not necessarily exactly this, but certainly some arrangement of these courses. I can't guarantee everybody will have first period English 9, but you'll probably have English 9 in your day. We talked about the fact that everybody will need an English class over the course of each year of high school. You'll need a social studies class. Again, in 9th grade, that's typically global studies 9. In both cases before, we talked about the fact that there are both Regents courses and honors courses. So English 9 comes as an honors course, but as does global studies 9. You'll have a math class. Some students may be taking algebra this year. Right? Most likely, if you're successful in that, you'll move on to geometry next year. Some students will take their first algebra course as a 9th grader. Earth science, it's a science that, again, most students will start with in 9th grade. One of the things new for us this year, if this is not your first high school student with us here at Homer High School, is we've added a homeroom to our day. Right? And really the idea of homeroom, if you go back in time to when moms and dads were in school, you might think about that starting point of your day. We're using homeroom really as a point in the middle of our day for students to pause, to have a little bit of a break in traditional classes, have an opportunity to go back, work with a teacher, or again, work with other teachers in their day, whether it's to get caught up on things because they have questions, or again, just a point to have a pause in their day. Again, our earth science classes come with a lab attached to them, right? Our Regents science classes will have a lab that's every other day. Right? So some of you may have heard about double period sciences, that's what we're talking about there. And again, opposite that is typically physical education class. Students are going to go on in world language, Spanish or French. We'll take the level 2 language. We don't want you to forget lunch. Lunch is an important part of your day. And having, again, that break to catch your breath is important. And an 8th period allows an opportunity for some choice for 9th graders. So it might be an ag class, might be a business class, might be a tech class. Those are 3 subject areas where students over the course of high school can earn an endorsement in career technical education here in the building. You might choose your music class or art class that period, or you might have time where you had a study hall, or where because you need a little bit of extra support, AIS is scheduled. In addition to extra help there in homeroom, we have a 9th period at the end of our day after the first busing release, where students can stay and work with teachers after school. So extra help again during homeroom and after school during 9th period. Talked a little bit about the different levels as we spoke for a moment. And again, you can see under each of those that idea again in English, both the Regents and honors class. Math, we talked about, again, algebra Regents, geometry Regents. Did mention that we have a 2-year algebra course, so not everybody picks math as their favorite course, and some people need a little bit extra time with math, and that's okay. So in Algebra 1, our students taking the algebra Regents take the first half of the coursework as 9th graders, and they take the second half in 10th grade and take the algebra Regents at the end of 10th grade. Social studies, again, we mentioned Regents and honors there. Typically, students in Global 9 honors could be a preparation for AP World History in 10th grade. Talked about earth science, again, we see Regents and honors there. We mentioned agriculture. Typically, our students start with an introductory class called Ag, Food, and Natural Resources. The district continues to offer French and Spanish. So 9th graders are typically in French 2 or Spanish 2. Again, art depends on what they've done at the junior high school. So many of our students start in Studio 1, but some will start in Studio 2 or possibly 3D design. Students with an interest in technology start with design and drawing production. In music, we have some performance options in choir and band, but there's also a music appreciation course, if you will, music history called Bach to Rock. We mentioned business courses before. 9th graders have the opportunity to take College and Career Ready, which is an introductory class, and again provides some information both for students looking not just to go out to college, but potentially looking to work. So preparation on developing a resume, interviewing, and how to get that first job, or business computer application. So again, some standard courses that everybody can really plan on taking, but also some choices for students as well as in their day as ninth graders. How to decide on courses, right? It starts with a conversation, right? What are your interests? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what are those areas where students need to grow and to work at to be successful? Knowing what's expected, right? We talked about the program of studies before, and that will discuss course recommendations and prerequisites. Many of our ninth grade courses don't come with prerequisites, but over time, courses will build with those. Right? Talk with teachers or your students' counselor. We typically will ask, not just for our ninth graders, but for students returning as upperclassmen, we'll ask teachers at the end of the second quarter to give you some feedback, to make recommendations for the following year, and we'll share that with you so that as you're planning your schedule, you have the opportunity to have a conversation about what did the teacher suggest? What was the feedback they provided you with? And again, what is it your future has for you? You know, what is your goal? What is it you're interested in? Right? Especially when choosing electives. We're fortunate in some of the programs we have that there's a variation in meeting interests of students. We're excited to continue to offer electives that have, again, that CTE certification in technology, in agriculture, and in business. And I think that gives, again, a variety of options for students depending on what their future career path may hold. Again, we talk about the ninth grade year right now, but high school is a 4-year process, so that planning really right now isn't just for ninth grade, but we try to look ahead and try to have a sense of what will each year of the 4 years to graduation hold. And so counselors, even now, as I start to talk to you about building that schedule for ninth grade, we'll be talking about those things that need to be thinking about as 10th graders, as 11th graders, and as seniors, and working into those college and career goals. What are some things that you should be thinking about if you're looking at college going in ninth grade, 10th grade, the 11th grade year, and the seniors? And again, we'll take time to look at that each year. Just a quick overview again of that 4-year plan and what it might look like over the course of the years. One of the things that I'll offer you when we look at that chart, it looks like a lot there. How do I move? How do I know if I'm a ninth grader, I'm going to be a 10th grader? Right? Typically, up through 8th grade students, if they have a successful year, they move to that next grade. And the key in high school is earning credits. So to move from 9th grade to 10th grade, we're looking for students to earn 5.5 credits. Right? From 10th to 11th grade to be at 11. From 11th to 12th to 16.5, and then 22 credits to graduate. Mentioned before, it's easy to earn beyond 22 credits. It's not uncommon for our students when they finish the junior year to have already earned 22 credits. And occasionally a student will meet the requirements and look to graduate early, but oftentimes it just means that they've taken a number of courses and continue to look to take more. Talked a little bit a second or two ago about that course selection process. Again, we use School Tool for teachers to make recommendations through that process here. Junior high using School Tool, or we're still using our course recommendation sheets?
They're using School Tool.
So again, you'll look for a printed form. Will come to you with that information through School Tool. Again, a Google Form survey for electives posted tomorrow, January 20th, in Skills Block, and 8th graders are looking for you to complete those by the 24th. That helps us have an idea of the sorts of things you're looking at. Junior high counselors working with senior high counselors to, again, finalize those course selections and get it back to you. And then initial schedule meetings this month and next month with junior high counselors to talk about what selections have you made and where are we looking at going forward. Okay, do you want to introduce breakout rooms or we just let them go? I'll look to our counselors to see if they've got anything they want to add before.
Well, I think if we just, I introduced myself, I think I tried to most everybody, so again, I'm Mrs. Fairchild, and you're going to come with me to room 223, which is right around the corner here, but all the way out in the lobby, and we'll try to gather together and head up, so I don't lose you.
So we're going to do this in an organized fashion, and since Mrs. Fairchild is at the top of that list, students with the last name beginning with the letters H through M will go with Mrs. Fairchild to room 223. She'll wait for you in the lobby, so Mrs. Fairchild will wait for family's last name, student last name H through M. For our folks that are with us on YouTube, give us about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. Certainly you can click on that link to the Google Meet link that Mrs. Fairchild shared, and she'll be online with you there. Okay, it looks like we've got students. Mrs. Wadsworth will take students with the last name H through, or excuse me, A through G, A through G to the library. So Mrs. Wadsworth will go and meet you in the lobby, and she will move with you up to the library. Thanks, folks. Once the Mrs. Wadsworth group leaves, if we have some families that are still here, those of you that are in the way back, if you want to come forward, I know Mrs. Wallace, who will have students and last names M through Z, would love to have you so she can see the whites of your eyes. So it looks like we're projecting, which is awesome. I love it when the plan comes together. I'm going to give you the mic, Mrs. Wadsworth, or Mrs. Wallace, and away you go.
Right. Give me one moment here. I got to start a Google Meet for those who are attending remotely. So give me one moment. I'll get that going.